One of the keys to my success in spring is the combination of a kayak that I can stand up in and a good pair of polarized glasses. So if you're heading out in the spring, whether you're saltwater fishing, freshwater fishing, and you're trying to sight cast, whether it's sight casting to the target, the cover and the structural changes, or to the fish itself, the 1-2 punch is a good quality kayak that you can stand up and feel comfortable standing up in, and a good pair of quality polarized glasses. So if there's anything else you take away from this episode, polarized glasses and a stand-up kayak. Oh, fish on, here we go. This is a good fish. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. Whew. Oh, drag pullage. Love it. Oh, man. Yes. I'm going for a little sleigh ride. Oh, yeah, he's still bulldogging. Come on. Don't you throw that hook. Oh, come here, buddy. Oh. Booyah, dude. Look at that. She choked that spinnerbait. And, God, what a fish. Look at that. Freaking giant right there. All right, guys, so let's see how I caught this big fish in this big bass breakdown. God, what a toad. I want to tell you about one of my spring tactics for finding and locating big bass, and I call that the rule of thirds. And what the rule of thirds means is I take a particular body of water and divide it into thirds. And then I divide portions of that into thirds and systematically break it down, looking for cues, looking for structural changes, looking for cover, looking for things that I can put into my mental bank, that I can mark waypoints, and that I can come back to and be successful on later on. I'm also looking for fish, and I'm trying to catch fish, but more importantly, I'm looking for things in certain types of water that I may or may not even expect fish to be in at that time. And so spring, I do a lot of spot hunting. And spot hunting for me helps me find places to find fish or go check for fish when I expect them to be in those particular places. Here's how this whole concept works. Everybody fishes a particular body of water and they catch fish. And after they catch fish, they develop what I call go-to spots. The problem with go-to spots, if you're too dependent on them, is they become a crutch. You go to them expecting to catch fish when you really shouldn't. So take days, especially in the spring and in the fall. Particularly right now in the spring, I'm looking for fish that are in transition, fish that are staging, that are in that between pre-spawn and spawn, or in any one of those particular stages. And so you have to search. So if you know where particular fish will be in a particular body of water, take those spots and make them off limits for that particular trip and go learn the body of water. That's what I was doing today, and that's the purpose of why we're out here today. And so when I got started, I went through several of the lures that I was using, and I really expected to catch fish on 3 of them, but I've caught fish on every bait that I tied on. I've caught them on the bull shad. I've caught them on the lizard. I've caught them on the ultimate shad. I've caught them on the crankbait. But the fish that I expected, like that I wanted to and knew that I was going to catch the big fish on, was a spinnerbait and a natural color. And the reason that I went with a natural color today with a little bit of gold is the water's clear and the sky's clear, and there's little to no wind in most of these pockets. And that's what you want to use when you've got that combination of conditions. When you've got stained water and clear skies, I use a gold blade and a brighter bait. When I've got muddy water and overcast, I use a dark bait, a black, a purple, or something along those lines. But today, because I had clear water and clear skies and pretty well bluebird conditions, I went with a silver rear blade and a gold kicker just to give it some flash, and a natural color. The shad are moving. The bass are feeding up, trying to either get ready for the spawn or recuperate from the spawn, depending on what phase of the transition they're in. My water temperatures today varied from 59.5 degrees up to 67. 67 was a surface air temperature in the back of a pocket where the wind had blown gently all day. So I'm not really confident that that's an overall representation of how warm that water was. Now, let me tell you what I use for spinnerbait presentations when I'm searching and when I'm expecting fish to be tight to cover. I downsize to a 6'9" rod. I like to have a softer action than I normally do with the spinnerbait rod. And the reason being is I want to fish this spinnerbait a lot like a crankbait. I want that rod to have some flex to it. I want it to be a little shorter so I can make pinpoint accurate cast. And part of the reason I want it to have that soft action, that parabolic bend, almost like a crankbait rod, is I want to run that bait into wood. But when it hits that wood, I want the rod to have some flex in it so it can deflect off of it. If you have too stiff of a rod, when the lure hits it, it flips over and you hang up. So if you've got a rod that's super soft, that's got a lot of bend to it, a parabolic bend, a lot like a crankbait rod, and it's a little shorter and more compact, you can use the rule of thirds to break down a body of water without casting all the way to the back and catching the fish and spooking everything in between, and you're going to build an inventory of go-to spots. So in the month of April, or depending on where you live, anytime the water temperature's from 55 up to 68 degrees, I like to use a number 4 blade. The way that I remember that, where I'm from, is that's generally in April, and April's the 4th month of the year, so a 4 or a 4.5 is the perfect size to fish the bait just fast enough that they're going to chase it down when they're not super aggressive, and that they're going to hit it when they're really laid up and just sticking tight to wood. So, look, if you want to catch more fish in the spring, tie on one of these guys. Tie on a spinnerbait with a big willow leaf where you take and flatten out a little bit of it. There's a couple ways to do that. You can lay it on something and hit it with a hammer. You can take pliers and bend the edges of it. You can put it on the ball of your truck and tamp it with a screwdriver handle. You can just bend it with your hand. Take a little bit of the concave out. That'll open that arc up a little bit, give it a little more flash, give it a little more thump. You can fish it a little slower. Choose a shorter, more accurate rod for pinpoint cast, and fish the spinnerbait a lot like you would a crankbait by running it into wood. And I promise you, in the springtime, you're going to put big fish in the boat with a spinnerbait. Listen, guys, I'm Chad Hoover. This is Kayak Bassing TV. This is my big bass breakdown, and I hope you enjoy all the stuff that we're doing here. Give us a big thumbs up if you liked the video. Comment below if you want to learn more about this particular technique, or if there's anything that we should elaborate on in another video. So again, give us a big thumbs up if you like the content. Comment below, and as always, subscribe to Kayak Bassing TV.